Mark Labbett has spent years sitting in the famous Chaser's chair, known to millions of viewers as one of the sharpest quiz minds on television. His towering presence, quick wit, and playful confidence have made him a fan favorite on The Chase. Contestants often walk onto the stage feeling a mix of excitement and nerves, knowing they're about to face someone who has built a reputation for turning trivia into a high-stakes battle of knowledge. But sometimes the most memorable moments on the show have nothing to do with who wins or loses. Instead, they come from the spontaneous, funny, and human interactions that happen between the contestants and the chasers. And one moment in particular would become so unforgettable that fans talked about it for years. More than a decade ago, a contestant stepped onto the stage to face Mark Labbett during a lively episode of The Chase. The atmosphere was lighthearted, and as usual, Mark greeted the player with his signature humor. From the very beginning, the conversation between them felt different. There was a playful back and forth, filled with jokes and laughter that instantly caught the audience's attention. During that original appearance, the contestant made a clever remark that sparked one of the funniest exchanges of the episode. Mark responded with a quick comeback, and the moment turned into a hilarious bit of television that fans would later remember and share online. The clip circulated among viewers, becoming one of those classic The Chase moments that people love to revisit. At the time, no one expected that brief interaction would be remembered years later. After all, the show has featured hundreds of contestants and countless funny moments. Yet something about that exchange stood out. Maybe it was the natural chemistry between Mark and the contestant. Maybe it was the perfectly timed joke that had everyone in the studio laughing. Whatever the reason, the moment quietly found a place in the hearts of fans. Years passed, seasons came and went, and Mark continued his role as one of the most formidable chasers on television. Contestants came and went, each hoping to outsmart him and take home a prize, but that one funny interaction from years earlier never completely disappeared from memory. Then, something unexpected happened. During a later episode of The Chase, Mark glanced toward the stage as a new contestant prepared to play. At first, everything seemed routine, but as the contestant introduced themselves, Mark paused for a moment. There was a look of recognition in his eyes. It took only a second for the realization to land. Standing in front of him was the very same person who had shared that hilarious moment with him more than a decade earlier. The studio audience quickly sensed that something special was unfolding. Mark leaned forward slightly, smiling as the memory came rushing back. The contestants seemed equally surprised that the chaser remembered them. "Wait a minute," Mark said with a grin, clearly amused by the coincidence. "Haven't we met before?" The contestant laughed, confirming what many viewers were already beginning to suspect. Yes, they had been on the show before, and yes, it had been around 11 years since their first appearance. For a brief moment, the quiz competition almost took a back seat to the reunion happening right there on stage. Mark couldn't help but laugh as he recalled the famous remark that had made their earlier encounter so memorable. The audience responded with warm applause, enjoying the rare sight of a contestant returning after so many years and being remembered by the chaser. It was a moment filled with nostalgia, humor, and a surprising sense of connection. The contestant joked about how much time had passed since their first appearance. Life had changed in many ways. Back then, they had simply hoped to survive the quiz round and maybe earn a little prize money. Now they were back again, facing the same chaser who had once traded jokes with them. Mark responded with the same playful charm that fans have come to love. He teased the contestant lightly, asking whether they had spent the last decade studying trivia just to prepare for a rematch. The contestant laughed and admitted that life had been busy, but the memories of that earlier moment on The Chase had never quite faded. For viewers watching at home, it felt almost like a reunion between old friends. The conversation flowed naturally, full of humor and friendly teasing.
Mark joked that he hopes the contestant had improved their trivia skills over the years because he certainly hadn't gotten any easier to beat. The contestant fired back with a clever response, reminding Mark that sometimes the most dangerous players are the ones who show up with a smile and a good sense of humor. The audience loved every second of it. Moments like these are rare in quiz shows. Usually the focus is purely on the competition, the questions, the pressure, and the race against time. But every once in a while, something happens that reminds viewers why they loved the show in the first place. It's not just about knowledge. It's about personality, connection, and the unexpected stories that unfold when people step onto that stage. As the game began, the friendly tension between Mark and the contestant only made the experience more entertaining. Each question felt like part of a playful rematch, as if the two were continuing a conversation that had started 11 years earlier. The contestant approached the game with confidence, answering questions with focus and determination. Mark watched closely, occasionally raising an eyebrow or offering a humorous comment when the situation called for it. Even when the pressure increased, the tone remained lighthearted. At one point, Mark joked that he might have underestimated the contestant the first time they met, and he wasn't about to make the same mistake again. The contestant responded with a grin, saying that facing Mark again felt a bit like meeting an old rival who still remembers your best joke. The audience laughed, enjoying the friendly rivalry that had grown out of such an unlikely reunion.
It was a reminder of just how long the show has been part of people's lives. Over the years, viewers have watched contestants come from all walks of life, each bringing their own stories, personalities, and unforgettable moments. But very few return after more than a decade, and even fewer are remembered so clearly by the chaser they once faced. As the episode continued, the energy in the studio remained high. Whether the contestant would manage to outsmart Mark or not almost seemed secondary to the fun unfolding on stage. The two continued exchanging playful remarks, creating a moment that felt both nostalgic and brand new at the same time. For viewers who had seen the original clip years earlier, the reunion felt like a perfect full-circle moment. And for those discovering the story for the first time, it was simply a reminder that television sometimes delivers the most wonderful surprises when you least expect them. By the end of the episode, fans were already talking about the reunion online. Many shared the original clip from 11 years ago, comparing it to the new encounter and celebrating the rare continuity between the two moments. Some viewers joked that Mark has such a sharp memory that he probably remembers every contestant who has ever challenged him. Others simply loved seeing the human side of the show, the laughter, the memories, and the friendly chemistry that can develop even in the middle of a quiz competition. For Mark Labbett, the moment was another reminder of why The Chase has remained so popular for so many years. The questions may change, the contestants may come and go, but the spirit of the show stays the same. It's about knowledge, yes, but it's also about the people who bring their personalities and stories to the stage. And sometimes, if the timing is just right, those stories come back around in the most unexpected ways. An 11-year gap might seem like a long time, but in this case, it turned a simple joke into a television memory that fans will probably be talking about for years to come. Moments like this prove that even in a fast-paced quiz show, laughter and connection can leave a lasting impression. And who knows, somewhere out there, another former contestant might be watching, remembering their own time on The Chase and wondering what would happen if they ever walked back onto that stage again. If you enjoy stories like this, full of surprising reunions, funny moments, and unforgettable television memories, be sure to stay tuned for more updates and behind-the-scenes moments from the world of your favorite quiz shows. Because on The Chase, you never quite know when the next unforgettable moment is about to happen.